Good morning. It is Thursday, January the 7th, and I'm here for as many of us who are ready to go. We've got some messages in the chat box and elsewhere that technology is a little bit of a struggle today. So we're going to go through this nice and slow and get this video with all the information we need for the friends who can watch it later if they get kicked out of the meeting. It's Thursday, so we're going to do a quick review/preview of your vocabulary words for this week. We were looking at the story called Seeing Stars, where we're talking about nonfiction, teaching us new things about constellations in outer space. To go with our question of the week about investigating nature, the question asks what we can learn by doing that, and we can learn new things about things we did not know. On Monday, we listened to the story and we learned new things about the stars and the constellations and what's going on in outer space. And in that story, we had 7 vocabulary words that made some science connections. And real quick, the words were dim,
somewhat dark, not very bright.
And the sentence was about how the flashlight grew grim, so they grew dim, so they couldn't find the tent. We made a connection to going to a movie theater when the lights get really dark before the movie starts. It's not very bright, but it's not totally dark out, so the lights get real dim. Our second word was gas.
Gas. A substance that is neither a liquid or a solid, and that has the ability to expand indefinitely.
So we made a science connection to this. We think of the 3 parts of matter. We know that solids are things that you can touch. We know that liquids are things like water that fill up a space, and gases are the things that you can't really hold in a container. We talked a little bit. We made a quick connection to clouds. When you guys come back next week and we do science in the classroom, we're going to talk about weather, and we're going to talk about clouds and some other things that are going to make some fun connections to gases. The next one was a word that we really enjoyed. It was gigantic.
Very large, tall, or bulky. The Great Pyramids are gigantic ancient buildings.
Things that are gigantic are very big. In the story, they were telling us about how some of the stars don't look very big, but in the sky they are pretty gigantic. We took a word that we knew, ladle.
Ladle.
And made a science connection to that.
A large spoon with a long handle.
We know that a ladle is like a big spoon, and the picture on the screen is a ladle of soup. In our story, we heard about constellations, and sometimes the stars get together in just the right way that it makes a picture. And we saw the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper that look like ladles in the sky. So that was a really cool connection. A pattern was an art connection, and we talk about patterns in math too.
Repeated decorative designs. The patterns on butterfly wings can be very elaborate.
So patterns can be on butterfly wings, patterns like on this picture. We made a connection to the art that we made for our classroom wall in the beginning of the year when we made patterns on the canvases to hang our woodland creatures on, and stars in the sky can make patterns. Our next word is shine.
Shine. To give out light. Stars shine brighter in the country than in the city.
Shine and dim are antonyms. They're opposites. If something is shining, it is very bright. If something is dim, it is not very bright. The last word is temperature. Make some math connections when we talk about temperature and science connections. We have a picture of a thermometer that measures the temperature.
The degree of heat or cold. When the temperature reaches 90 degrees, I'm going swimming.
So those are our 7 words. And we're going to see, where'd it go? I was going to try and play the game with you guys, but I don't know that we have enough time or the video is going to work. Let's see. We like the dresses with blank better than plain ones. We like the dresses with patterns better than the plain ones. I'm going to show you the answers. We're going to do an activity like this today. My grandmother used a blank to serve the soup. She used a ladle. The temperature dropped when the sun went down. The sun finally began to blank in the afternoon. It began to shine. It was the opposite, dim in the attic during the day. I was surprised by how gigantic the airplane seemed. The middle school students tested the gas in science class. You can't test a shine or a dim. And that was those 7 questions. So didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but it's okay because your activity today has something very similar, and then your test tomorrow is going to have something like that too. Your activity is in the Google Classroom. It says Thursday 1-7 reading. It's a Google form that looks like this. It says read carefully and choose the best answer. On the top, it has the 7 words again with their definitions that we just read: dim, gas, gigantic, ladle, patterns, shine, and temperature. And then underneath, you have questions like the ones we just did that make connections back to our story from Monday. To find the word that is missing. We listened as the meteorologist told the blank for tomorrow. When you watch the news, there's a man or a woman called the meteorologist that tells about what? Do they tell about patterns, gas, temperature, or gigantic? If you think back to the news, there's no one telling us about pictures. There's no one telling us about gas. There's no one telling us about how big something is. They report on the weather. They report on the temperature. This word fits the best, so we're going to click on the bubble, and then you're going to click or tap into the colored space so your answer doesn't change, and then go down to the next one. This one says, the light was so blank, it was difficult to see. So you're going to think, what word could that be? The light was so gas, the light was so ladle, the light was so shine, or the light was so dim. Pick the answer that you think fits the best in the sentence, tap out, and scroll down. She put a blank called helium inside the balloons for the party. She put a temperature, a gas, a patterns, or a gigantic. Number 4, look at that pumpkin. It's what? The pumpkin is gigantic, the pumpkin is patterns, the pumpkin is dim, or the pumpkin is ladle. Where is the blank we needed to serve the soup? Where is the gas? Where is the temperature? Where is the ladle? Or where is that one says dime? You should probably say dim. But let's see which word makes sense. Mom made a quilt with beautiful blanks in it. Beautiful gigantic, beautiful shine, beautiful ladle, or beautiful patterns. And the last one in this pattern, Dad will wax the car to a stunning blank. What can a car be? Can a car shine? Can a car dim? Can a car gas? Or can a car temperature? The one that makes the most sense. Tap in the color and scroll down. Now you have 3 questions with a different set of directions. It says choose the answer that means the same as the word in parentheses. This word is parentheses. Those are these half circle things that we talk about in reading and in math. So which word explains what this word means? So it says they will dim the theater lights before the movie. What does dim mean? Because dim is in parentheses. Does dim mean very bright, crowded, small, or kind of dark? Okay, number 9 has the same directions. Choose the word that means the same as the word in parentheses. This is like the questions on your test. Okay, they're looking for the definition of the vocabulary word. The sentence says, can I use the ladle to dip water from the pail? The word that they want to know about is ladle. What is a ladle? Is a ladle a large spoon, a kind of pin, a sharp knife, or a rain jacket? A ladle is a large spoon. So since this is asking about ladle, I'm going to tap on large spoon and then go to the next question. Does that answer some of those questions, that question mark in the chat box? Choose the answer that means the same as the word in parentheses. The sentence says the temperature in the house is 72 degrees. The word is temperature. What does temperature mean? Is temperature hot or cold? Is temperature a number? Is temperature math? Or is temperature science? What does temperature mean in this sentence? The temperature in the house is 72 degrees. If I'm not sure, I can scroll back up to the top where my words and meanings are. And I see that temperature is the degree of heat or cold. So if I go back to number 10, degree of hot or cold, that matches the meaning that's in my top. So that's going to probably be the right answer. And I'm going to click out and scroll down. And then when I'm finished, I'm going to press submit. So that's your Google form activity, 10 questions about vocabulary. If you get stuck, the words are on top. And that's a check mark for the end of your Google Meets. Review these vocabulary words. We're going to look at our test for tomorrow. Before we get started tomorrow, it's going to have questions just like these. After your activity and you press submit, if you go to the end, it will give you your score. Let me show you that real quick because sometimes you have questions about that. I'm just going to click a bunch of things. I may not have the right answers. I'm just clicking a bunch of things. I press submit. And then it says, here's your score with a button that says view accuracy. That's your score. So if you press this button, it tells you your grade, how you did. So this is correct, and I just put pretend answers in. So it tells me which ones I got right and which ones that I did not. So don't forget to check that at the end because you always have lots of questions. Hey, Ms. Flown, did I do really good? It tells you at the end because I can't always pull that up and your grade is not everybody else's business. So I can't always tell you that. So that's the end of your Google activity for today. When you're done, please go to Lexia and work on your reading. At the end of that, use your reading time wisely to take care of things that you need. Your reading block ends at 9:45. Then you take a restroom break and then come back for math at 10. I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to answer some questions and we're going to talk about some small group things that are happening and see what you need. So stop recording.